I don't have answers to everything, not to my own problems, and certainly not to all of humanity's problems. I am a vulnerable, sensitive, and imperfect human being. And this might sound like, oh, I'm so humble, remark about myself, and even rationalization for my lack of knowledge and my potential mistakes. But for me, it hasn't always been easy admitting, even to myself, my vulnerability, my sensitivity, and all the other things that I considered deep down shame and weaknesses. So what I used to do was I tried to hide them, and I covered them with something else, such as achievement, validation from others, faking it until I make it, and fitting in. And I thought, the more I achieve, the more I have, the more I become, and the more I'm accepted by other people, those flaws will go away. But of course, they didn't. They were always a part of me, and I didn't like them. The result being me always denying the parts that I didn't like about myself and only accepting the parts that I liked. Or more accurately, the parts that I wanted to believe was representative about me. Until I learned how to get in touch with my home feeling. And what is a home feeling? It's a feeling that makes me feel at home. A home that has the capacity to embrace every part of me, and where I can take refuge and purify and strengthen myself. And there are two ways I get in touch with this warm and beautiful home feeling. And one is through pain, and another one is through transcendence. Pain and transcendence, these two words sound heavy and even otherworldly, but they simply mean emotional fitness and letting go of myself to be myself. Let me talk about pain and emotional fitness first. So many people these days are keen on having a fit body, but there's another type of fitness that we highly neglect and don't educate enough, and that is emotional fitness. Psychologists say that we all have darkness inside, dark thoughts and dark feelings that give us pain, discomfort, and displeasure. Psychologists say that the unpleasant feelings that humans feel fall into 8 categories. And these emotions, these feelings, are natural feelings, but they're also considered private feelings, something that we consider difficult to talk about and even properly deal with. And I find the most natural and effective way to handle such emotions is to simply feel them. Just letting them be without trying to get rid of it. Feeling and accepting every inch of the pain they give me, big or small. And this is very scientific as well, but when I feel them without inner resistance and judgment, those feelings dissipate more quickly than otherwise. And that does not mean I find solutions right away to the problems and causes that bring me painful feelings. But I do come out with more courage and gratitude, which become the fuel that drives me onward and saves me from perpetuating cynicism, bitterness, and even self-hate. And also, while coming out of pain, I realized that I stretch out as far as I can to reclaim my birthright of joy and freedom. And this makes better sense if you think of the same analogy of physical pain. So when you work out, especially when you're doing weightlifting or holding the same posture for an extended period of time, your muscles feel pain. And right after it's done, you feel the urge to stretch out your muscle. And when you do, you stretch it out as far as you can, regardless of how flexible you think you are. You feel no shame or no guilt and go full in because you know it's your well-deserved stretch that frees you from pain. So whether it's a physical stretch or mental stretch, after fully soaking in the pain, the stretch makes me feel a sense of high, like catharsis. And I don't know how it works this way, but that's usually when my transcendence starts. And I start to let go of the idea of what I should be or what I should do, and instead become more open to what I am right now. I become more clear about what I like and what I don't like without setting the boundary of what's right or what's wrong. And I experience that what I can be is so much vaster and deeper than what I should be. And that's when I know I'm home. And whatever's going on in the world, I have so much faith in this home full of inner treasure. But of course, I'm not perfect at it. I'm not perfect at purifying the pain of letting go of myself and finding my way back home. Because you see, the tricky part about home is that once I'm sure I found it and try to stay there, it relocates. And I need to go search out for it again. And I find myself trying to take a shortcut or a detour and get lost. Especially when the things that I find difficult to make sense out of happens and almost overwhelms me. Who here in the audience agrees that this world is kind of a messed up place? Thank you for showing your hands. I'm with you on this. As much as I delight the idea of optimism and positive affirmation, I also believe that it's realistic to think that this world is not an easy place to live, and pain is an essential part of our life. And it's no wonder why two of the most well-known and influential men in the history of mankind, one of whom is Siddhartha Gautama, also known as Buddha, said, "Life is dukkha," which means life is suffering. And another man named Jesus, also known as Christ, said, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." And when we hear the word like sword, it's likely to conjure up an idea of battle and fighting back. But what if he meant sword as in a compass to guide us to our home, to our inner sanctuary? And what if that compass is creativity? I know I said I find my home by embracing pain and transcending myself, and that's true, and that's the starting point. But I also realized that during those processes, creativity is always at play. I think many people consider creativity as some kind of quality that we can attain by working hard. But I beg to differ. I think to become creative is to become myself, because the word create in creativity does not so much mean to create a visible piece of art, but to create myself and my moments. And your pieces of art are just a byproduct of the moments that you created. And those byproducts are not just limited to tangible art. It can also be creative solutions to your big and small problems. Growth, fun, pleasant surprise, and sometimes even unexpected miracle. But what we see in the modern world is the exact opposite. Many of us try to chase after fast solutions, achievement, pleasurable experiences, and all the good things that we want, and that's okay, but we avoid and skip the natural steps of becoming myself and creating moments. The result, we run around all day without getting anywhere. Whatever we do end up getting does not make us content, does not bring us home. And we somehow believe it's because there's something wrong with us. And self-hate and cynicism or bitterness start to grow and become chronic. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here, because before I worry about anyone else, I have the occasional tendency to be like that. Like I said, I'm a vulnerable and imperfect human being who does not have answer to everything. When I'm not home, I feel lost. And it's not easy finding my way back home. I wish my map looks like a straight line, but oftentimes it looks more like a squiggly line. But as long as I open my heart to every single part of me, both the beauty and the messiness, and stop putting myself in a box of shoulds, creativity follows me everywhere, like a best friend, and spends time with me while guiding my way home. Creativity, and I write, dance, study, read, work, play, have conversations with other people, give and share, and we do many more. And with creativity, I feel less scared, even if I'm not exactly home, because I can catch a glimpse of home, and that gives me hope and assures that all is well. Although creativity understands, embraces, and works with every single part of me, there's one thing that scares her away, and that is the pursuit of perfection. Pursuit of perfection is nothing more than the chronic obsession with I should and I have to. And I know it's hard to draw the line between healthy shoulds and unhealthy shoulds. Healthy shoulds are our healthy responsibilities, such as making a living, taking care of our health, doing legal and social duties, and so on. And unhealthy shoulds are what make us feel like we have to be better and different than who we already are, and thus leave us feeling clueless and even miserable. While I was writing my speech for this TEDx event, which I feel so honored and grateful to be part of, my perfectionist tendency was back on. I was like, this is my first ever public speech, and I have to write about something important, relatable, and it has to be funny, moving, and whatnot. And I was racking my brain out to think of some original ideas worth spreading, and that gave me pain. I was so disappointed and frustrated because I haven't gotten over with my perfectionist tendency and unhealthy shoulds. And I knew, unless it goes away, my natural creativity wouldn't come back, wouldn't come with me. So I embraced it. I let my perfectionist tendency and the pain that came from it be. I didn't push them down. I let them madly jump around until they stopped. And then I found myself stretching out with nothing getting in my way. And I began to create my moment through writing. And I was home, I'm pretty sure of it, at least in the moment of writing it. And I'm pretty sure I was quite near home throughout the entire moment of delivering this speech to you. And you're all my guests to my home. And this speech is what I'm offering for my dear guests from my home. And I hope that you enjoyed your 15 minutes of stay in my home, although my service wasn't perfect. And I also hope that it helps you, even just a bit, find your way back home. Thank you.